This video was made possible by Skillshare. The first 1,000 people to sign up can learn with Skillshare for their first 2 months for only 99 cents. This is Tuvalu. You're probably gonna need to zoom in because Tuvalu is the 4th smallest country in the world by area and 2nd smallest by population. Only 10,000 people live there, which is less than Kirksville, Missouri, a town whose main attraction is the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine. Tuvalu lies about halfway between Sydney, Australia and Honolulu, Hawaii, so it is isolated. The main island stretches a mere 2,000 feet across at its widest, and space is so limited that, when not used for flights, the airport's runway is used as a public park and gathering place. Tuvalu also has the lowest GDP of any country worldwide. Of course, it doesn't help that it's the 2nd least populous country, and the least populous country, the Vatican, literally has a bathtub worth $2 billion. But the overall gross domestic product of this country is a mere $32 million. Just for some reference, that's less than the amount that the US government spends on printing each year. Just to be more clear, that's 85 times less than the amount that the US government spends on printing each year because the US government spends $2.7 billion on printing every year. But that's not the point. The point is that Tuvalu is very small, very isolated, and very poor. When you're situated in the middle of the Pacific, it can be tough to make money. A lot of other Pacific Island countries rely on income from tourism, but it's particularly tough to get to Tuvalu. Its airport only sees 3 flights a week from Nadi, Fiji, and this 650-mile trip costs about $800 round trip. In metric, that's too damn much. Auckland, the nearest large city, is also just as close to Antarctica as it is to Tuvalu, so they make their money by killing. Fish, that is. Not only do 42% of Tuvaluans work in fishing, but the country also has an enormous exclusive economic zone in which they have exclusive rights to resources, so they sell fishing licenses to foreign ships, which provides a significant portion of the government income. But the country's most interesting source of income came to them entirely by chance. If you remember Half as Interesting episode 4, back before all my jokes became terrible, I talked about the International Organization for Standardization, which sets standards on how to make tea, among other things. One of them is Standard 3166, which defines 2-letter codes for each and every country. So, for example, Japan got JP, Romania got RO, and Guatemala got GT. But then the internet came around. In an internet address, there is generally a 3rd-level domain, a 2nd-level domain, and the top-level domain, which is what we're interested in. The top-level domain is the last part of a domain name such as .com, .org, .net, .gov, etc. Starting in 1985, the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, which assigns top-level domains and has a surprisingly terrible website for the organization that basically runs the internet, started creating top-level domains for specific countries, and rather than just choosing codes for each country, they took the ISO 3166 list and used the preset codes for each country. And here's where Tuvalu got really lucky. Their code was TV, and their top-level domain was .tv. As it turned out, the internet did not fail like journalist Clifford Stoll predicted when he wrote in 1995, "You can't tote a laptop to the beach," yet Nicolas Negroponte, director of the MIT Media Lab, predicts that we'll soon buy books and newspapers straight over the internet. Sure. A few people even started watching video on the internet, and .tv was the perfect top-level domain for news streaming sites, and so Tuvalu started selling domains. Originally, a company called .tv bought the licensing rights for the .tv domain, but in 2002, this company was acquired by VeriSign, which, aside from being a nightmare of a name for dyslexics, is the registrar for a bunch of different top-level domains including .com, .net, and now .tv. It's believed that the country of Tuvalu now receives $2 to $3 million per year from the registration of different .tv domains. Up until 2000, Tuvalu was not part of the United Nations, but they joined after this deal went through because they could finally afford the $100,000 joining fee. The revenues from this domain now amount to almost 10% of the country's GDP and have been used to pay for crucial development in this tiny island country. If you want to learn how to join the United Nations, Skillshare sort of has a class for that. They don't have a course about how to get your country into the UN, that might be just a bit too niche, but they do have a course about how to get a job at the UN. It covers the application process, the skill assessments, the interview stage, and much more. But if you want to learn something a little less practical, they also have courses like How to Solve a Rubik's Cube by fellow YouTuber Mike Boyd. What's great about Skillshare is they have over 18,000 classes, so if you want to learn something, there's a good chance they have a course on it. You can get started learning today with Skillshare by being one of the first 1,000 people to sign up at skl.sh/HAI7, and by doing so, you'll receive 2 full months of learning for only 99 cents.